Today's case took place in Maibara City, located in the northeastern part of Shiga Prefecture, near the eastern shore of Lake Biwa, Japan. In the past, this area was known for its abundant reed fields, which often obscured visibility, causing people to lose their way. However, the beautiful scenery of Mount Ichiharu in the area attracts many tourists every year. The main character of this story is Ogawa Tenko, a 28-year-old woman working at a major glass manufacturing company. She was highly skilled in her job, with a promising career path ahead. However, in 2009, her smooth life was abruptly interrupted when she suddenly went missing. On the morning of Friday, June 12, 2009, around 6 a.m., a small roadside parking area in the Ichiharu neighborhood of Maibara City became the scene of a shocking discovery. A team of sanitation workers had gathered to clean storm drains, dropping a pump into one of the drains to extract dirty water. As the job progressed, the pump unexpectedly got stuck. Curious about the obstruction, the workers investigated and were horrified to find a body floating in one of the drains. The workers immediately ran outside and called the police. Responding quickly, police arrived at the scene, set up a perimeter, and began investigating. The area where the body was found lies at the base of Mount Ichiharu, a secluded spot with no streetlights, bordered by woods, and with no nearby houses. Normally, aside from occasional passing trucks, there is little pedestrian traffic. This small roadside parking area is often used by hikers as a place to park before heading up the nearby trail. A sign in the lot reads, "Ichiharu cares for you. Please do not litter and keep the area clean." The parking lot has 4 storm drains, each identical in size, with an opening diameter of about 25 inches and a depth of approximately 7 feet. The drain where the body was found was one of these. Since the drain had accumulated a significant amount of water, the police had to call in the fire department for assistance. After some time, they managed to retrieve the body. Preliminary observations indicated that the victim was a young woman wearing a blue uniform from a glass manufacturing company. She had a noticeable head injury, suggesting that the fall into the drain was unlikely to have been accidental. According to the sanitation workers, there had been heavy rains a few days prior, causing storm drains along the roadside to collect a considerable amount of dirty water. That morning, they were assigned to clean the drains when the pump became blocked, leading to their unsettling discovery. The scene investigation lasted into the afternoon of the same day. The police drained the water from the manhole and found several items at the bottom, including a mascara stick, an iron hammer, and a car key. Near the manhole, they discovered bloodstains and a clump of brown hair. In the nearby bushes, they found a woman's glove and a pair of blood-stained shoes. The victim's cell phone was not recovered. Unfortunately, the road where the incident occurred had no surveillance cameras, posing significant challenges for the police investigation. From the scene, it was clear that this was not an accidental fall. Preliminary findings suggest that the victim had a violent struggle with the perpetrator before being struck with an iron hammer and thrown into the manhole. To avoid detection, the perpetrator likely took the victim's phone and ID documents. Forensic examination revealed that the head injury was caused by a blunt object, and defensive wounds on her hands indicated resistance before death. The cause of death was drowning, and the estimated time of death was around 8 p.m. the previous evening, on June 11th. Police compared the victim's DNA with the missing persons database and identified her as Ogawa Tenko, a 28-year-old woman. In fact, Ogawa Tenko's mother had reported her missing, stating that her daughter left for work on the morning of June 10th, but did not return home or answer calls after work. According to investigations, Ogawa Tenko was born in Nagahama City, Shiga Prefecture. She was the only child in her family, currently single, and living with her parents in the Kanagawa neighborhood of Nagahama City. In 2002, at 21 years old, Ogawa Tenko began working at a glass manufacturing company in the Takara neighborhood of Nagahama, where she was responsible for training new employees. Known for her diligence, modesty, and courteous demeanor, she was well regarded by her colleagues. She had worked in this position for 7 years, and through her efforts, had purchased a car, which she drove daily along a 7-mile commute from her home to work. On the morning of June 10, 2009, as usual, Ogawa Tenko, now 28, prepared to drive to work. However, her car suddenly broke down and wouldn't start. Not wanting to be late, she asked her mother to drive her to the company. By 8 p.m., the end of Ogawa Tenko's workday, she told her mother she would take a taxi home. But her mother waited late into the night without her daughter returning and couldn't reach her by phone. Initially, her mother assumed that her daughter was busy with work and would come home once she was done. However, by the next morning, with Ogawa Tenko still not home, she grew anxious. Just as she prepared to go to her daughter's workplace, she received a call from Ogawa Tenko's coworker saying that she hadn't come in and was unreachable. This was very unusual. Ogawa Tenko was punctual and never late or absent without notifying someone, prompting the coworker to check in with her family. Alarmed by this call, her mother immediately sensed that something was wrong, certain her daughter must be in trouble. She quickly went to the police station to report her missing. Tragically, the next day, Ogawa Tenko was found in the manhole at the parking lot. The police approached Ogawa Tenko's parents to deliver the tragic news. They were devastated, and after some comfort from the officers, gradually accepted the reality. They tearfully shared that their daughter was a considerate and filial child who had never caused them any worry. She was always diligent in her work, and her daily routine was simply between home and her company. She had no known conflicts with anyone, and they couldn't understand why anyone would harm her. Based on known clues, Ogawa Tenko disappeared after leaving work on June 10th and had no contact with anyone throughout June 11th. It's likely she was attacked after finishing work on June 10th and thrown into the manhole. However, at that point, she may have only been unconscious. After regaining consciousness in the filthy water, she likely struggled to escape on her own throughout the day. Due to continuous rain, the water level kept rising, and finally, by 8 p.m. on June 11th, a day later, she tragically drowned. The police asked her parents if she had acted unusually before the incident. They said their daughter was a shy, introverted person, still single, and usually stayed at home when not at work. On that day, she went to work as usual, showing no abnormal behavior. Upon reviewing the items at the scene, they found that apart from the iron hammer, all items belonged to Ogawa Tenko. The police then went to Ogawa Tenko's glass manufacturing company to gather more information. The company's manager told them she was a rare, dedicated employee who took her work seriously, was responsible, and very patient with new hires. But from June 11th, she had not shown up or requested leave, which worried everyone. A female employee named Kyoko proactively approached the police with an important lead. She revealed that on the evening of June 10th, as she was preparing to leave, she considered asking Ogawa Tenko to walk out with her, but saw her looking anxiously at her phone as if texting someone. Kyoko called out to her but got no response, so she approached to check in. Ogawa Tenko mentioned that she had some personal matters to handle and might be leaving a bit later, telling Kyoko to go on without her. Kyoko didn't press for details and left on her own. From Kyoko's account, the person texting Ogawa Tenko may know something relevant, but since her phone was missing, the police couldn't retrieve any useful information and had to look for other leads. With permission from the glass company's director, investigators reviewed surveillance footage. It showed that on June 10th, Ogawa Tenko appeared distracted, frequently checking her phone. In the evening, she left the company alone, and her whereabouts were unknown after that. During the investigation, Ogawa Tenko's mother contacted the police again with a crucial lead. She explained that on the second day after her daughter went missing, she called Nami, a close friend of Ogawa Tenko, to inquire about her whereabouts. After learning about the disappearance, Nami tried calling Ogawa Tenko herself, and, unexpectedly, someone answered. But it wasn't Ogawa Tenko. It was a strange man. He spoke only a few words before quickly hanging up. Nami later relayed this to Ogawa Tenko's mother. Initially, the mother thought Nami might have dialed the wrong number because her daughter had never dated and had no male friends, so she couldn't imagine a man answering her phone. However, the more she thought about it, the more concerned she became, so she decided to inform the police. The police immediately contacted Nami. She confirmed that on June 11th, she called Ogawa Tenko, and a man answered. At first, she thought she'd dialed the wrong number, but after double-checking, she saw it was correct. She then asked the man if he knew where Ogawa Tenko was. He responded harshly, claiming he was in a meeting and didn't know her whereabouts before hanging up. The police suspected that Ogawa Tenko might have kept her relationship a secret, possibly dating this man, who could have been the one who answered the phone. They considered that the two may have had a conflict that led him to harm her in anger. In line with this theory, the police uncovered new information. Ogawa Tenko had a close, perhaps intimate relationship with a man named Morita Bonjo, with whom she frequently spoke on the phone. Recently, it seemed they had been in conflict, arguing and leaving things on bad terms. Morita Bonjo was 12 years older than Ogawa Tenko, making him 40 years old, and he lived in Ogani City, Shiga Prefecture. He also worked at the glass manufacturing company and had a supervisor-subordinate relationship with Ogawa Tenko. To avoid raising suspicion, the police quietly investigated residents near Morita's home, discovering that he was married with 2 children. One neighbor told the police that Morita Bonjo was highly respected, known for his polite manner and eagerness to help others in need, making him popular as a kind-hearted person in the community. Standing at 5 feet 11 inches, Morita had a refined appearance and seemed mature and trustworthy. With his excellent capabilities, Morita was even selected as a community leader, organizing public activities for the neighborhood. Both before and after the incident, Morita continued to go to work as usual, showing no outward signs of distress. Another neighbor described Morita Bonjo as a devoted father who adored his 2 children. Although his job kept him busy, he always made time for his family. On his days off, he often took his kids on outings, frequently seen with them by the riverside catching crabs, appearing happy and content. He was also very considerate toward his wife, and the couple seemed to have a harmonious relationship. Whenever their children's school hosted events, they attended together, admired by other parents. This neighbor added that there had been nothing unusual with Morita's family before or after the incident. His wife continued to cook and shop as usual. The only minor change was that Morita had been coming home later recently, which they attributed to possible overtime at work. Through conversations with neighbors, the police believed that Morita Bonjo's relationship with Ogawa Tenko was likely hidden from his wife. At home, he maintained the image of a devoted husband, while secretly sustaining a close relationship with someone else. After their conflict, he allegedly murdered her, then continued to go to work as usual, hiding the affair and any signs of trouble. When the police asked Ogawa Tenko's parents if they knew of her romantic involvement, both stated they were unaware. Their daughter never discussed her personal life, and they assumed she was single. They were completely shocked to learn that Ogawa Tenko was involved with a married 40-year-old man. The police revisited the glass manufacturing company for additional information. A worker named Sato revealed a key detail. Morita Bonjo and Ogawa Tenko appeared very close, displaying affectionate behavior and often leaving work together. Initially, Sato didn't find it strange, as colleagues sometimes develop good relationships. But over time, rumors circulated around the company, suggesting they were secretly involved. Neither Morita Bonjo nor Ogawa Tenko addressed these rumors directly, appearing indifferent to them. Sato went on to tell the police about an instance when, on his way home, he saw the two holding hands, which reinforced the rumors for him. Over time, they became more openly affectionate, often spending time together during work hours, and most people, uninterested in intervening, became accustomed to it. However, since Ogawa Tenko's passing, Morita Bonjo acted as though nothing had happened, attending work daily as usual, seemingly unaffected, which made some colleagues doubt whether there had been a relationship at all. Nevertheless, rumors within the company began to suggest that Morita Bonjo might be responsible for her death. A woman named Yuna came forward to the police, claiming to be a close friend of Ogawa Tenko, to whom Ogawa confided all her troubles. She explained that initially, Ogawa Tenko was unaware that Morita Bonjo was married. They worked closely together every day, and eventually, feelings developed. Ogawa Tenko held genuine affection for him, seeing him as mature and trustworthy. Although he was 12 years her senior, she believed that their love would transcend the age gap. Initially, they were deeply compatible and even considered meeting each other's parents when work permitted. However, as time passed, Morita Bonjo revealed a darker side, often becoming angry without reason and even becoming physically violent with Ogawa Tenko. She frequently turned to Yuna for support and considered ending the relationship. But each time they argued, Morita would initiate reconciliation, using sweet words that Ogawa found hard to resist, leading her to repeatedly forgive him. Before the incident, Ogawa Tenko confided in Yuna, expressing suspicions that Morita Bonjo might be seeing someone else, potentially betraying her trust. Heartbroken, she confronted him, but Morita turned the tables, accusing her of being unfaithful. This accusation led to a fierce argument between them. Yuna advised Ogawa Tenko to have an honest conversation with Morita, suggesting it might just be a misunderstanding. Shortly afterward, however, Yuna received the tragic news of Ogawa Tenko's fate. She told the police that Morita Bonjo certainly had issues, his mood was highly unstable, and he was prone to anger, making extreme actions not out of character for him. Additionally, he was the only one with a clear motive. According to Yuna, Ogawa Tenko was entirely unaware that Morita Bonjo was married and possibly decided to end their relationship after discovering the truth. She may have arranged to meet with him after work on June 10th to discuss the matter. During this conversation, Morita Bonjo's anger was likely triggered, resulting in his attack on Ogawa Tenko. However, this was just a theory. The police still needed more evidence to arrest him. Soon, new information surfaced. The investigation revealed that Morita Bonjo owned a car, which he drove daily. 2 days after Ogawa Tenko's body was found, he suddenly took the car to a repair shop. This suspiciously timed visit drew the police's attention. Investigators went to the repair shop to gather details. A mechanic told the police that Morita Bonjo was a regular customer, frequently bringing in his car for any issues. Previously, he would often bring a woman along, showing signs of affection that made them look like a couple. However, on June 13th, Morita came to the shop alone. At the time, the side mirror was damaged, and there was a dent in the front passenger window. Initially, the mechanic assumed it was from an accident, but after close inspection, he found no signs of collision. Curious, he joked with Morita, asking if his girlfriend had damaged the car in a fit of anger. Morita was visibly startled, looking awkward and not responding. Taking the hint, the mechanic didn't press further. When shown a photo of Ogawa Tenko, the mechanic identified her as the woman Morita often brought to the shop. By this point, Morita Bonjo had become the prime suspect. The police speculated that after work, Ogawa Tenko had gotten into Morita Bonjo's car, where an argument ensued. When they reached the scene of the crime, the altercation escalated, and Morita, enraged, struck Ogawa Tenko with a hammer he kept in the car. She attempted to escape, but he pursued her, continuing to hit her with the hammer. In the course of this struggle, he accidentally damaged the side mirror and passenger window. Eventually, Ogawa Tenko sustained a head injury and lost consciousness, at which point Morita threw her into a nearby manhole. Knowing the area well from driving through it frequently, he was aware there were no security cameras around. What he hadn't anticipated was that Ogawa Tenko was still alive, only unconscious, after being thrown into the well. The police immediately searched Morita Bonjo's car and eventually found bloodstains on the front passenger seat and inside the left rear brake assembly. DNA tests confirmed that these blood traces belonged to the victim, Ogawa Tenko. 1 week after the incident, based on substantial evidence, the police arrested Morita Bonjo on suspicion of murder. An analysis of messages on his phone confirmed a romantic relationship with Ogawa Tenko, along with past arguments stemming from mutual accusations of infidelity. During interrogation, Morita's wife revealed she had been entirely unaware of her husband's affair. In her eyes, he was the ideal husband, devoted to family and loving toward their children. She had never suspected him, and was deeply heartbroken to discover he had hidden such actions from her. When police questioned Morita Bonjo, he surprisingly remained extremely calm, as if he were entirely disconnected from the case. He denied having an inappropriate relationship with Ogawa Tenko, insisting they were only colleagues with no overstepping of boundaries. According to him, they simply worked together and cared about each other professionally, but some co-workers spread rumors, which he felt helpless to counter, choosing to tolerate rather than confront them. According to Morita Bonjo, on the evening of June 10th, Ogawa Tenko, without her own transportation, asked for a ride home. However, he claimed she suddenly became very agitated during the trip, insisting he let her out. Despite his attempts to calm her down, she insisted on leaving, so he pulled over and drove away alone. Morita asserted that he had no knowledge of Ogawa Tenko's death and assumed she was on leave, which was why she hadn't come to work. As for the damaged windshield and side mirror, he said he was unsure of the cause, suggesting that perhaps someone who disliked him had vandalized his car, or that it was an ill-intentioned prank, insisting it had no connection to Ogawa Tenko. Since Morita Bonjo continued to deny the charges, and given that the crime scene was in an isolated area without surveillance or eyewitnesses, the police could not procure decisive evidence, delaying the case from going to trial. It wasn't until November 4th, 2010, that the appeals process of the Supreme Court concluded, allowing the trial to commence. Morita Bonjo was charged with murder, concealment of a body, and other related offenses, with the prosecutor requesting a life sentence. In court, Morita Bonjo continued to assert his innocence, arguing that the bloodstains found in his car proved nothing. He stated that Ogawa Tenko frequently accepted rides from him, and the blood traces could have been unintentionally left at some point. As for the blood found on the left rear brake assembly, he explained that the tire had previously punctured, and Ogawa Tenko, who was in the car at the time, had helped him replace it. During that process, he claimed, she accidentally scraped her foot, resulting in the bloodstains. Due to the lack of decisive evidence, both sides argued intensely in court. The police argued that emails found on the defendant's phone could prove there was a romantic conflict between him and the victim. According to the latest testimony from a witness who was a truck driver, on the evening of June 10th, he saw a car resembling Morita Bonjo's parked on the roadside near the crime scene. Although it was very dark and he couldn't see clearly, he distinctly remembered the car parked in the lot where the incident took place, with its headlights still on. Additionally, Ogawa Tenko's friend, Yuna, also provided testimony confirming that the victim had been threatened with violence before her death, which suggested Ogawa Tenko may have been in danger. The police suggested that Morita Bonjo, fearing exposure of his improper relationship with Ogawa Tenko, became enraged and killed her. Furthermore, the blood on Morita's car, confirmed through DNA testing to belong to Ogawa Tenko, along with the fact that Morita took the car in for repairs shortly after the incident, added to suspicions that he was attempting to eliminate evidence. The defense, on the other hand, argued that the two had indeed met in the car on the day of the incident, but that Morita Bonjo had not engaged in any aggressive behavior. They claimed that it was Ogawa Tenko who suddenly became angry and demanded to be let out of the car, after which she met with an unfortunate accident. Both sides remained firmly opposed in their interpretations, leading to ongoing disputes. Meanwhile, Morita denied all charges since his arrest on June 19th, repeatedly stating, "I didn't kill her." Throughout the interrogation, he mostly remained silent and often declined to answer even minor questions. The judge noted that there was an inappropriate relationship between Morita Bonjo and Ogawa Tenko, suggesting a motive for murder on the defendant's part. The judge also considered the defendant's explanation to be unreasonable. Although there was no press or media investigating the possibility of a wrongful conviction prior to sentencing, the trial indicated a case of a man inflicting violence on a woman. The victim had suffered blunt force trauma to the head near the man's car. Given the condition of her body, it was likely she had lost a substantial amount of blood. Thus, evidence such as the condition of the vehicle's windshield pointed to signs before and after the incident. The man's car itself was a crucial piece of evidence at the time of the incident. On December 2nd, 2010, after 11 court sessions, the court reached a verdict. Defendant Morita Bonjo was convicted of murder, body disposal, and other charges. However, due to insufficient conclusive evidence, the court did not accept the prosecutor's request for a life sentence, ultimately sentencing him to 17 years in prison. Dissatisfied with the verdict, Morita Bonjo appealed to the Supreme Court, seeking release. However, without new evidence, the court denied his appeal. While not many believe in Morita's innocence, the case has left much debate, as the exact degree of guilt and the motive behind the crime remain unclear. This case serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of toxic, secret relationships, especially with those who are already married. And with that, today's case comes to a close. We appreciate your support, so please like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in our next videos. Goodbye for now.